Yo, 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 yo. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you know what time it is. You know what hour it is. You know what minute, second. Let's go back to days and weeks and months, because guess what? You know what time it is. You press that play button. You subscribe. You're listening. You're hearing. So you know who this is. It's me. It's me. It's Doogie Franchise. That's DOOGIFRANCHISE. Yes, sirree. In the place to be. And you know what time it is. It's show off season. And I'm not alone. No, sir. I got a guest with me. I got a special guest with me. Now allow me to break down some of the stuff of this gentleman here by my side. He's an art curator, art mentor, community outreach, event planner, promoter, aka all around hustler. Okay? Where you can find them? Oh, you can find them in that NYC, in one of the cornerstones of NYC, in Washington Heights. Now, his name is Leopoldo. I said that so badly. I'm so sorry. like, I'm so sorry. I said that so.
No, that's fine. It's Leopoldo. It is a Spanish name, so.
I'm so used to. I'm sorry. I'm just so used to saying Leopold.
Yep, I know.
And then when you gave me the the full name, I said,
Yeah.
oh shit.
I mean, I go by Leopold in English. People, friends, close, relatives, all call me Leo because it's just shorter and easier. But for the most part, I'm going by my full name just to honor my roots and culture and family and the reason why I even have the name. But yeah, it's a definitely a distinct name. Not many people have it. The name historically has been associated with tyrants and dictators in history. Usually, not a lot of good people. But I'm trying to change that. I'm trying to be the Leopoldo, who brings goodness and greatness and love and joy and happiness to the world.
That's what's up. It's funny because it's been how many years since we last spoke, bro?
Wow, it has to be like definitely over 10.
Yeah, man.
Definitely over 10.
Like, when I first met Leopold, I literally was just turning 21.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like 20 going on 21.
Damn. and I was in my 30s.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I was doing video for someone else, and Leopold was literally one of the first interviews I've ever done.
Thank you.
As
I'm
a kid.
honored and privileged.
No, thank you. Thank you for 10 years later doing another one.
Absolutely, man. I support good things from good people, so this is definitely one of those situations.
You were always into art. Like, what got you into art and led you to an art curator?
I think I love beautiful things. I do. I'm an admirer of beautiful things, and ever since I was a kid, like all kids, we draw, we doodle, we color. We all have that. At some point, every kid in his life draws and illustrates, or whether it's looking at comic books or superheroes, and you try to duplicate what you've seen in your own way, and then slowly, what happens a lot of times is that we are told that our confidence it wanes down, and we're told that we're not artists, or that that's stupid, or how can you make a living from drawing. And a lot of times, we get discouraged from pursuing that. And I was one of those kids as well. And I found myself still loving art. And what happened was, excuse me, in my late teens, I started to realize that I had a lot of friends that were artists. Not because I chose them to be my friends because they were artists. They were my friends first, and they just happened to be artists. And I started to acknowledge that and saying, damn, this is pretty cool that my friends could draw, they could tag, they could do graffiti, they could illustrate, they could paint. And I was like, well, maybe this is something that I should look into. But when I went to college in Atlanta, I took marketing as my field of study, and that was a very creative world and a creative space, but it wasn't art, so to speak. At least not in the way that I saw it. But as I took it and I started to evolve more in it, I started to see that this is art. There's an art to creating something from nothing and having people attracted to it or associated to it. And I took that, and still within that time frame, I was meeting more artists that became my friends. And after graduating, I came back to New York and pursued marketing and worked in the marketing field. And in that world in New York, I was exposed to, obviously, New York is, as you said, one of the cornerstones of creativity and art. Everything from graffiti to the art history that New York has had, from you know creating people like Basquiat and Andy Warhol and Keith Haring and stuff like that. And anybody that wants to be a part of the art world comes to New York, because this gives them such a great platform to get visibility and to be known in that field. And so the more I started seeing that, the more I started getting attracted to it. And eventually I left the marketing world and slowly but surely started to inject myself into the art world. And I started off by doing events. I was doing these really cool art events, where it was about people having a good time, but having a good time centered on art. And from there, it just started evolving. I went from doing these events with art to then just becoming an art curator. From an art curator, I became an art dealer. From an art dealer, I started developing art content online. From developing art content online, I then became what I'm doing more now than anything before, is becoming an educator. And I don't usually like to use the word art educator or teacher. I use more creative coach, because I think what I do is I help young people, mostly young people of color, tap into their creative confidence. Um, Again, what we lost as children, I try to bring back. So if a person feels like, yeah, man, I used to draw back in the days a little bit, but I'm not into that right now. And it's like, well, why not? It doesn't cost you anything to grab a pencil, to grab a marker, to grab a paintbrush, and just start expressing yourself. And if we think about it, creative confidence is what has given us everything around us, right? So it took Jay-Z confidence to grab the mic and create songs, lyrics. It took Kanye creative confidence to be like, yo, you know what? I could produce amazing tracks. It took, um, you know, Jean-Michel Basquiat the confidence to be like, you know what, man? I ain't gonna finish school. I'm gonna focus on becoming an artist and becoming who he is today, or who he was, because he passed away in the 80s. So we all have that creative fire in us. It's just that who's fanning the flame, and why did we stop fanning the flame? So what I do now is I create programs, and I teach it throughout different institutions on helping the youth tap into that. And doing so, I help them learn about art history. And that's what I really focus on, to show them that, look, if this person did it like this, you can do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just using very generic examples. Like Cardi B is a person who, as hood and as wild as she has creative confidence. She's not gonna let anybody shit on her or tell her that she can't do something when she wants to create something, whether it's a song, a different personality, a style, whatever it is. She has that confidence. And I just want to emphasize, creativity is really important, because everything around us was created. Everything, right? The mics that we're holding was created by someone. We're sitting on a park bench. This bench was created by someone. It was thought of, and then it was designed, and then it was created, produced, manufactured, whatnot. So it's something that we cannot live without. We are creative beings, right? So I think that when you asked me how did I get into art curating, it was just a love, it was a passion, and I feel like in our community with people of color, it's something that we need to harness more of if we are to progress. Because I feel like in our communities, we don't have the creative confidence.
I totally agree because as a creator, I tend to always get shut down, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I always like bounce back, and like it's one of those things where it's like sometimes people try to take away your creativity
Mm-hmm.
because they want to be like everybody else sometimes.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
then it's like if you're trying to make me like everybody else, you should get the person that did that thing that you want instead of me, because you're handcuffing me.
Mm-hmm. I
So,
agree.
and I totally understand that.
And the only way to battle that or to fight that, honestly, is just you believing in yourself so much that you know your vision more than anyone else could understand, and you don't owe anybody an explanation. And most of the people that have done that have gone on to create great things. Let's take for example Steve Jobs.
Thank you.
Steve Jobs had an idea of creating, the way he started was creating these at-home kits to develop your own computer, to put it together, to assemble it. Now it seemed like a stupid idea, and he and Steve Wozniak, who was his partner, they went on and they pitched so many businesses and stores. Hey, we got this excuse me, we have this idea, we have this package that if you sell this in your store, you'll make a lot of money. The kit is all the pieces that people can use to put together and make their own personal computers. People's like, that's ridiculous. Computers are not going to be in everybody's homes. People don't have a need. This is more of a business thing, or this is more of a science thing. It doesn't have to, no one else is going to want to have this in their home, and what are they going to use it for? But it was his creative confidence that was like, no, trust me, I know this will work. I don't care what anybody says. And then here we are, 2021, and all of us have an iPhone created by Steve Jobs. So it's like the vision that you have is intended for you to have so that you can create what you're intended to create. And no one else has the ability to do that, which is why it's given to you. And you just, all you have to do is inject creative confidence to do it.
That's powerful. I respect that.
Mm-hmm.
I respect that. So, it's funny because I noticed you said people of color. You're heavily into art for the community.
Mm-hmm.
What do you as your favoritism look for in art? What is some of your favorite things?
Some of my favorite things in art,
Yeah, that you look for.
I think one, I think that what I focus on is, again, artists of color. That's a world that has not been really embraced or
Fully tapped.
or amplified or promoted. Like, I could ask you right now, name me 5 artists of color. Can you?
Other
People that, not that you just know, but just general names that
Oh.
are well known.
Oh, okay. I was about to say. I was like, yeah, people I know. Yeah, I could go
Yeah,
down the line.
Sure.
There's my homegirl Cinnamon Brown,
Mm-hmm.
amazing artist.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a minute, because I went to art high school and I
Yeah.
went to Matt art
Yeah,
school. So
okay,
this
so
shit was
so
driving me crazy.
so that goes to show you, right?
yeah,
Like it
shout
doesn't
out
roll.
Cinnamon. She gonna love this when she hears this.
It doesn't roll off your tongue or anything like that. Now, if I say, yo, name your 5 favorite kicks, it's so easy for you to be like, yo, I like the J's number 15. I like
That's
this.
crazy. I'm not gonna lie to you. I can't do that either. My favorite.
But I think that there are other things that we connect with, whether it's sports, whether it's this, television, whatever it is, that we are so easily connected to because they're in our face all the time and they're promoted in the mainstream. But if I say Jean-Michel Basquiat, Micheline Thomas, Frida Kahlo, I could say, that's just 3 off the top of my head. I could say Ramel Z. I could say graffiti artists like Phase 2. Like, these are all artists of color, right? But you don't necessarily connect to them in a certain way because they're not in your face and they're not promoted. But when you discover their history and what they do, you find yourself in that storyline. You're like, yo, I grew up in a similar crib. I grew up in a similar hood like these people. I also didn't have all the resources. I didn't go to an after school program. Like I was just not I fall in line in that same kind of life history with these artists. But if I knew more of what they did, it might give me a guide onto what I could do also, right? Because you're seeing that it worked for someone else. And it's not so much of copying what they did, it's more like being inspired by how they lived. And that you can take that same thing. So for example, you're a videographer. Spike Lee is a filmmaker. There's a path that Spike Lee took that you could be like, wow, you know what? He went about it this way. Maybe I can also use some of that to go about it the way that he did. And then from there, add my own signature style or then detour to a different path onto what is relevant to me. But you have to know Spike Lee's history to know that, to use it as a reference. And I think that that's where the art history, the knowledge of how artists are and who they are and how they live influence you to do what you want. So when you ask me, what do I look for in art that I like? I look for artists of color first and foremost, and I like all art, so it's not just artists of color. But I look for that because that's the history that is very little is known about it, and it's always enlightening to learn about it. It's refreshing, and then I connect to that, and then of course the work has to be something that appeals to me. So I like art that's contemporary, which means like of today, of the times, of my lifetime, right? So that would include
That's
graffiti
fair.
art, that would include portraitures, that would include abstract art, that would include pop art, a big part of it. And then it just is art is like almost like a relationship with whoever you're interested in, right? So you know you just connect to it. If you see something, sometimes there might not be anything in that art that you're like, yo, it's this that I like about it. It's more like, I don't even know why I like you, but I just do.
Yo, that's funny because I do have that. Oh man, this is about to blow me up on this podcast. But that's how I usually do that with like describe girls. Sometimes
Yeah,
like it's like I don't know what it is, but it's something about you. I just
but
like it.
something about you, and the
Yeah,
same thing is with art, right? Like I said,
it's funny. That,
if you take other things, design things, like you might look at a you might look at a Tesla and be like, yo, that shit is dope, man. I just love the way it's so smoothly it's designed. I love the color. I love the interior. You love all those things that come together and you like for that reason, right? But you might be walking down the street and you just like the way, you know, the shadow of a tree falls on a piece of concrete and be like, yo, I just like the way the shapes of that are formed. Don't even know why. It's just an innate thing that we have as humans that we are drawn to beautiful aesthetics. So for me, I'm drawn to beautiful aesthetics. Then I look into what is the story or the history behind it, and then that confirms my love for it. And it's the same thing in a relationship. You see a girl or you see a guy, and you think they're beautiful, and you think you're drawn to them, and then that's one thing. That's like the physical surface. But then when you meet them and you talk to them, it reaffirms, damn, that's why I like you. Or I even like you more now because you're into the shit that I'm into. Or you are showing me things that I've never seen before. So it's the same thing with art for me.
damn, you're right though. Um, as a art, as an art curator, and uh, art coach, your biggest challenge, like where you're like, what was like your greatest challenge or your biggest down moment where you're just like, fuck.
I think it's always going to be getting people to want to give it a chance.
You,
Getting the public, getting the masses to be like, yo, I'm going to check this out. I never seen this before. I never heard of it. I think a lot of times we are fearful of things that we don't know or don't understand. So, you know, I taught a class recently about Jean-Michel Basquiat, right? Who's a Puerto Rican Haitian artist from the 70s and 80s. And his story is really dope and it's youthful. He died only when he was 27 in 1988. Um, but
Ouch.
to get people that don't know him to want to know him is a challenge. Because why would I want to know about this guy? What is it about him? How does he affect my life? How does he touch? How do I connect with him? And it's always that give it a chance. Like, it's almost like watching a movie. You heard that it's pretty cool, but you're like, all right, let me check this out. I'll watch the first 15, or like watching, forget a movie. It's like what we do now. We stream, right? We watch streaming shows. Recently, I started watching this show called C on Apple TV with Jason Momoa, and it's about, you know, if in the future, viruses kill humanity. Only a couple of hundreds of human or thousands of humans are alive, and they're all blind. And I
It's
was like,
called C,
yeah, SEE, like
and
to
about
see
a
something.
virus that just.
Yeah, but the virus doesn't really is not the major part of the show. It's how the world now was just full of blind people, and they engage and they in these tribes, and they're all literally blind. They can't see anything,
Okay.
but they managed to create a life and a world for them in this thing, and they battle and they fight blindly. Like they fight in the dark because they can't see anything, and they marry and they have communities and all that. And in that show, at first I was like, do I really want to watch this? Like, all right, I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna watch the first episode, and if it pulls me in, then I'll continue to watch it. If it doesn't, then I'm like, eh. And sometimes you gotta watch 2 or 3 episodes to be like, okay, now I got pulled in. Same thing as when I teach art. Give it a shot. Listen to the story for the first class or the first two workshops, and see how you like it. But first, you have to get that first thing in. You have to connect at first with that first opportunity. Same thing again, paralleling that to a relationship. Meet somebody, they look awesome, they're great. You're like, all right, I met this person. Do I really want to go on a date with this person? Do I really want to spend time with this person? I don't know yet, but let me give it a shot. What's the worst that could happen? I'm not interested, and I keep it moving. Same thing with art, same thing with, teaching.
That's fair. Um. Okay. What is from your personal experience, like your most treasured moment?
Going back to teaching, I think it's when I see somebody that never knew about anything I was teaching them regarding art,
Yeah.
right? At the end, them telling me, wow, man, I'm so glad I took this class. Or, wow, I'm inspired now to like really get into art more. A student told me recently, I used to see art and I like art, but I used to just look at it and just be like, oh, that's really cool. But now, after taking your class, now when I look at a piece of artwork, I now go right to the name and I start Googling who the person behind the name is. Because now the art history makes the art more valuable to me. And I think is that moment of enlightenment, education, and inspiration that brings me the most joy from what I'm doing.
Copy. Copy. That's awesome. That's a good way of looking at it. It's funny too because I got artist number 2 in my head. Shout out. Shout out Chanel Samuels. Shauna, she's a photographer. Um, okay. Love Shauna. So, are are there any other than art coaching? Are there any other projects you're working on, like any events or shows and stuff that you want to talk about?
I have a another art educational inspirational project
Mm-hmm.
called Scavengers of Art. And what Scavengers of Art is, it's a fun way to learn about art in your community or design in your community. So it's basically a scavenger hunt. I give you a series of riddles. When you figure out the riddles take you to a location. The location, once you get there, you get the next prompt, which is now do something creative at this location. And once you do that, then you share it online. And people play in groups and in teams. and you have 3 hours to find all these things in a community. So we could say, for example, Washington Heights. We're going to cover from 155th Street to 175th Street.
Cool.
And in that area, I'm going to be like, all right, cool. So I'm just making something up. Find where the love for your hood is well represented on the walls. That's just right. And so you look for an artist who has this tagline called I love my hood. Once you find it, then I'll say, okay, I want you to grab your phone and create a small PSA of why you love your hood or why you love Washington Heights. Once you do that, then share it on Instagram and put these hashtags or tag the person who did the art piece here. And that's all on you. You have to Google all these things to figure it out. And then once you do that, you get a point or you score for that. The first group or the first person to do all those prompts within the 3-hour span, they win the game. The best and the fastest, because you have to be creative. Now, what does that do? Ultimately, that allows you to discover creativity in art in places that you've walked by a million times and never even thought about looking at that graffiti piece. And it also inspires you to be like, yo, I could actually do some cool stuff on my phone. I could actually talk about, or make a cool video on my phone expressing how I feel about art. Or sometimes the prompt is, I want you to recreate that on a piece of paper, but in your own style of I love my hood. So then that allows you to be like, damn, I don't really know how to draw, but it was fun trying to recreate this. It gave me a reason to be creative again. And unlike sitting at a workshop, this is a fun way of doing it. So then you start associating art and fun, or creativity and fun, and be like, yo, everybody likes to have fun. So why not do something that also inspires and educates you?
You do know that's going to be amazing for kids in the younger grade, but that is also going to be fun for adults at parties.
I've done it. I've done it for adults. I've done like 10 of them.
Yeah, that is.
And I've done Harlem. I've done Washington Heights.
My birthday's in a couple weeks. That's why I'm like,
oh, okay.
My birthday's in October, so I'm about to be like,
yeah.
I think I know what I'm doing for my birthday this year, guys. We about to take some pictures in front of art and have some fun.
Yeah, man. No. It's something that you could definitely do for your birthday. You could do it just with friends, but it's challenging, but it's fun. And that's the ultimate thing. Like, you could do something else. You go to a bar. You could go to the beach. You could go hang out with friends in a park or whatever. But just imagine having that same amount of fun, but learning and being inspired at the same time.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, that's the scavengers of art.
Scavengers of art. I definitely got to look into doing that one because that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you gotta send me that information because I gotta create a promo piece for that already.
No, for sure.
Yo, also, it's funny because you gave a lot of jewels, but like I guess you can give one nice final happy jewels to anybody. Like any advice for people looking to become an artist, art curator, art mentor, anything in art, no matter what it is, video, music, painting, drawing, even comics, anything, all around.
Like I said before, man, it's creative confidence and also creative competence. Creative competence is developing a skill and learning how to use the skill to fuel your creativity. But it's creative confidence at the end of the day, man. We all have doubts. We all have reasons why we shouldn't do something. And a lot of times our incentive is money. We want to do this so we could get paid. We want to do this so we could see a check. But what if you don't see a check and you don't get paid? Does that mean you don't do anything with yourself? Or do you have passion? And passion is the ultimate fuel. And the reason I say that is because when times are rough and you have doubt and you're like, this is not going to work. Nobody's seeing my stuff. Nobody's listening to my podcast. Nobody's really checking me. Nobody's seeing how I express myself. Nobody respects how I'm being creative. Your passion helps you get past that. Because I love this so much, I'd be willing to do it for free. Even if I did it at 3 o'clock in the morning. Because I love to do it. And we all know that love pushes us to do the wildest shit sometimes.
Bro, listen,
right?
I got home a couple hours ago and made it here.
Right. And that's that I was telling you earlier, I love that you're so passionate about what it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
Right? And it
Thank you.
fuels you, because if you didn't have the passion, you'd be like, you know what? I'm not going to do this, man. I'm not getting paid. I'm spending money on a train. I'm spending time on a train when I could just be laying in my bed and relaxing. But it's like, I always say, man, you can relax, you can rest when you're dead. Until then, this is a life to be lived, so live it to the fullest.
Got you, yo. I love it, man. Like, it's funny too because the name of the podcast is called "It's Show Off Season," which was a catchphrase a couple years after we met, and then like I came up with randomly because I met somebody who was a janitor who loved making music and beats, and then one day
Wow.
he's like, "Yo, I need some help with some stuff," and I just said, "You know anybody that does video?" And I go, "Yeah, that's me." And
Wow, that's crazy.
and then that's yo. Honestly,
that's crazy.
it's just one of those faded things. I gotta really give a whole full story about my video history one day. But like it's just one of those things where like he was just like, yo, he just needed motivation, just like you were saying, creatively. And then I just said, yo, one day I was like, yo, bro, don't worry about it, man. It's show up season. We just keep doing it. And then,
and right there it clicked.
yeah, and then like I've been saying it since. And anytime somebody else says it, like, yo, doing whatever happened to it's show up season, I just be like, you got it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Game time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And it's your motivation, right? It's your passion.
yeah.
And again, people might say,
talk to the mic a little bit.
oh, sorry. People might say, hey, man, I'm not really into this. I don't know why you're doing this. I mean, like, you could be doing something else with your time. Just imagine that everybody that tried to do something different listened to those naysayers. Then we wouldn't have a lot of the amazing things that we have today. We wouldn't, as a people, we wouldn't progress. You know, we still be stuck where we've been because it was comfortable. Life gives us discomfort so that we can grow. And passion fuels us through that discomfort so we can make it past that and truly, truly become who we're supposed to be. Creative beings.
All right. That shit is deep as hell. I love it. I love it. I'm not gonna lie to you. A lot of my friends are gonna be like playing this back and be like, I'm going to say on behalf of people that are going to be listening to this and probably like, yo, thank you.
Yeah.
Because this is like shit that I like on my show.
Right.
That I want people to hear and inspired to do and work. That's like the point
Right.
of this show.
Right.
So people can learn and like have fun and listen.
Yeah.
Please, just in case, please tell people where they can find you,
Okay.
especially artists.
Yeah, on Instagram, my IG handle is at SOA Life. SOA stands for Sound of Art. So as S as in Sam, O as in octopus, A as in apple, life, all one word, SOA Life. And for scavengers, it's at SCVGR_art. So that's Sam, Cat, Virginia, Gorilla, Robert _art. And that's on Instagram as well.
And I'll have it down below in the links. I'll have the links to
okay.
it too.
Okay, great. But yeah, so yeah, they could find me there. I'm usually on Instagram. I need to organize that and make it a little more digestible for people because I am very random. But I'll be working on that soon so that people can get an idea of what it is that I truly do and how they could use it to help them do what they want to do.
Nice. Would you, if artists was to invite you to their show, are you willing to go? Depending on if you're free.
Yeah. If my schedule's free and I like the art, I will go. The one thing you'll get from me is always truth and honesty and authenticity. So if I don't like something, like anything else, like if I don't like a certain food or a certain dish, I don't like eggplants, so I don't eat eggplants. No matter how I'll try a new recipe, but I'm not going to be excited to eat it, right? So the same thing goes with art. If I see somebody's art and I don't like it, I'm not going to go. And I think that should be respected, and not because your art is bad, is that it just doesn't feed me,
Gotcha.
right? But I always give things a chance. So if somebody send me a link and say, hey, man, I want you to check out my portfolio, check out my art, and tell me what you think, I'll give them my honest opinion. And if the art is good and I'm curious about it and I want to see more of it and they have a show, I will show up.
Nice. You hear that, folks? He would show up. But thank you once again. I appreciate this.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you.
Um, Ladies and gentlemen, you can follow me at Doogie Franchise. That's DOOGIFRANCHISE. And you can also follow the podcast at It's Show of Season. So, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, with the ice cream truck in the background, goodbye and good night.